Hi everyone, my name's Paul Turner. I'm an osteopath and I've been doing healing work for an awfully long time. And one thing I do know from seeing many patients over 27 years or so of practice is that most of the problems that manifest in the body, the physical body is the battleground. It manifests dysfunction on lots of other levels of being. So when we're getting sick or we're getting trouble in our physical bodies, that's our body's way of telling us that we're out of sync at some level of our being. Now, if we just address that with physical means, like manipulation, massage, just aligning the physical body, you might help the body to become more aligned, but that doesn't make us healthier, because health comes from being our mind, our emotions, our energies, and our bodies all in complete synchronicity with our healthy blueprint. So within every one of us, you could say that there's a beautiful, healthy blueprint, an energetic or divine or healthy blueprint within, and the health is determined by the degree to which our minds, our emotions, our energies in our body are in harmony with that inner healthy blueprint. So to get in touch with that healthy blueprint, you can't do it if you don't use your mind, if you don't use your conscious awareness to tap in and look within to find your own inner health. Now, if you do look within your own body to find your own inner health, you're going to find that there are some areas of our system that manifest health in terms of that they feel at ease, they feel peaceful, they feel loving, they feel supportive, and they feel expansive and free. Then there's going to be other parts of our system that feel out of sync. They feel a bit agitated or anxious or depressed or down or fearful or yucky or stuck. Now, or physically restricted or energetically confined and that sort of thing. So if two parts of our system are out of sync, our mind with our emotions with our energies in our body, then that's going to manifest in the world as a physical health problem. And therefore, if you are inwardly out of sync with your inner higher nature, your inner healthy blueprint, that's going to manifest as a conflict, and that conflict's going to manifest as a disease of some form, and that disease will manifest as pain or suffering or dysfunction. So we're in a state in the world at the moment where we're in a state where we're sort of confined, we're isolating, and we're expected to wear face masks, and they're talking about a vaccine and all that sort of stuff. I will remind you of one thing, that none of those things, although they're preventative from us getting exposed to a sickness, they actually don't make us healthy. So I want to remind people of that, because if you are inwardly healthy, in other words, if all parts of our personality are in sync with our inner healthy blueprint, then we're going to manifest that externally by spreading and sharing health, which means that we become what I call a decent human being. We look after one another, we express loving kindness, we support one another, we respect free will of people to make their own choice and make their own mind up. Basically, we would be in a state where we allow people to just be themselves and make their own decisions and do what's right for them. But if we're inwardly out of sync and we're in disease, it doesn't matter whether we put a face mask on or whether we get a vaccine, because we're inwardly out of sync with our own inner nature. That is going to manifest in the world externally as a sickness or an injury or an illness of some form or other at some point. So these means that are put in place, fear-based means, are just preventative at best, but it's not going to solve the problem. You're not going to solve the problem of what's happening in the world by compensating for sickness or compensating for illness or trying to hide away from it or through fear. None of that will work. The whole pandemic thing is, if you look at what's happening in nature as opposed to what's happening in individual, it's exactly the same. If we're out of sync with our own nature, and if humanity are out of sync with nature and they're not looking after one another, in other words, we're living in a materialistic world where it's all about money, power, prestige, control, all that sort of thing, then that basically means we're out of sync and we're not looking after the planet, we're not looking after each other. So the consequence of that will be pandemics, will be sickness, will be economic crises, all that sort of stuff. So we should be looking at this, instead of trying to prevent ourselves from getting sick, we should be focusing on looking at what we can do to tune into our own systems, to connect with our inner health, and becoming more attuned to our inner health become more one with it, and then start to manifest and express that in our relationships with other people and in harmony with nature, with the earth and one another. And if we do that, then we'll get to a state where we'll naturally have a good immune system and a good natural immunity to disease, because manifesting health, we're only going to attract health to us. And even if you get exposed to conflicted or difficult situations, you are less likely to become affected by it, because inwardly your own system is completely in harmony. Now, the trouble is, most people walking around probably aren't aware of how to actually tap into that inner health. So there's numerous ways and means of doing that. I've created some self-healing modules if people are interested in that, to try and train the mind to tap into that inner health, to try and teach people how to connect with it, how to build it in, and then how to manifest it. And I've been doing that for years, and I noticed that over the years, the more people get in sync, the healthier they become and the less stress and problems they tend to take on board. So it does work. But you can't do it without conscious awareness. You have to be aware. Now, if you're oblivious to that, then you'll just decide to do whatever you want to do based on what you think is right. But I will tell you now, there are a lot of people on the planet that are listening to their inner health. They're trusting their inner guidance system. They're learning they're manifesting that, and they're spreading health, and they're not worried or afraid of catching a disease, or of catching health, or of catching not health, but catching of wearing face masks and all that sort of stuff, because really it's not going to make a big difference in the long run in terms of health. Okay, so to get healthier, we have to build that inner health and then start to manifest it. So that's the message. What else can I say on that? So if we aren't doing that, and we're compensating and we're expecting everyone else to make us better, we think the vaccine's are going to make us healthy. We think wearing face masks is going to make us healthy. That's not going to make us healthy at all. It's just going to prevent things at the minimum. But because we're not in sync, we're still going to get something or other down the track. So the long-term solution has to be becoming more consciously aware, tuning into our own system, building and spreading health, not disease. So I'll leave you to think about that.